the Mystery Incorporated gang goes to the annual Coolsville Halloween Carnival on Halloween night. While there, they encounter the resident magician, amazing Alphonse Krudsky, who refuses to allow Scooby to see his show after an accident. In retaliation, he and Shaggy, who feel that Halloween is the one every year where the usual scares have to be fake, expose Alphonse Krudsky as a fraud during one of his acts, causing his audience to walk out and Krudsky to swear revenge on the duo. The gang gets thrown out of the carnival and decide to go trick-or-treating instead. In his tent, Krudsky reveals his desire to become a real magician. The fairy princess Willow enters Krudsky's tent and accidentally causes Krudsky to notice an entry about the Goblin scepter in a spellbook, which can be combined with fairy magic to control Halloween. Krudsky then gets an idea to obtain the scepter and rule the world with it. Willow decides to toy with him, but knocks herself out. Krudsky sees that she's a fairy and absorbs her magical powers, thus becoming a real magician. Meanwhile, Shaggy and Scooby's last stop trick-or-treating is a spooky-looking house, which claims to be a genuine magic shop. Once inside, a thunderstorm begins, frightening them. The proprietor of the magic shop, Mr. Brian Gibbles, reveals the duo that magic really does exist. Krudsky enters the shop chasing Willow, captures her, and then turns Gibbles into a rabbit and steals the magic equipment before leaving. Mr. Gibbles explains Krudsky's plan to Shaggy and Scooby and shows them a version of Krudsky turning their friends into evil monsters, horrifying the two. Gibbles gets them to board the Grim Reaper Railway, which will fly them to the spirit world, warning them that they have to return home before sunrise, or else they will be trapped in the spirit world forever. Before they depart, Shaggy and Scooby are magically disguised with the use of temporary magic cards into monster-like versions of themselves. Meanwhile, while looking for Shaggy and Scooby back in the real world, the rest of the gang see Krudsky conversing with the Goblin King through a mirror, who reluctantly agrees to exchange his scepter for Princess Willow at midnight. Seeing all this magic caused the overly rational Velma to fall unconscious. Fred and Daphne leave Velma to rest in the Mystery Machine while they set a trap for both the Goblin King and Krudsky. In the magic world, Shaggy and Scooby's disguises disappear as they encounter a werewolf. In order to get past him, they convince him that they are collectively a werewolf. Fooled, he brings them a monster-filled bar. During the song Bump in the Night, Shaggy adds in a lyric asking how to get to the Goblin King's castle, terrifying all the monsters into running away. The Goblin King's two bumbling goblin henchmen, Glob and Glum, attempt to capture Scooby and Shaggy, are stopped by Jack-o'-lantern. The trio then encounter the Headless Horseman, who wants Jack for a pumpkin head. They escape the horseman and arrive at the witch's hut, where they meet the Grand Witch and her two fellow witches. The witches send Shaggy and Scooby on a ride on their flying broomstick towards the Goblin King's castle, but they are shot down by Glob and Glum by a goblin cannon. Crash landing in a small fairy village in a forest, Shaggy and Scooby find three fairies named Sparkplug, Honeybee, and Tiddlywink, who help them to the Goblin King's castle entrance using a potion from the witches, apparently made from someone called Scratch. Shaggy and Scooby disguise themselves as Daphne and Velma in order to get inside the castle. Only a few minutes away from midnight, Shaggy and Scooby try to steal the scepter from the Goblin King, are captured in their disguises, were often sent to the Tower Dungeon. Back in the mortal world, Krudsky and the Goblin King are almost through with their trade when Fred and Daphne spring a trap, only managing to catch the Goblin King. Krudsky takes the scepter, turning himself into the new Goblin King before turning the Goblin King into a goose. Krudsky and his new goblin army set off to take over the world. He turns the Mystery Machine into a living monster vehicle called the Monstrous Machine to chase Fred, Daphne, Velma, and Willow. The goblins capture the three, and Krudsky uses his newfound powers to turn Fred into a vampire, Daphne into a witch, and Velma into a werewolf, fulfilling the terrifying vision that Scooby and Shaggy were shown by Mr. Gibbles earlier. At that moment, Scooby, Shaggy, and Jack-o'-lantern arrive, having been saved from the dungeon before sunrise by the fairies and Broomy. Jack sacrifices himself, making Krudsky drop the staff. Scooby then uses the staff to break Krudsky's spells before returning it to the Goblin King, who is revealed to be Princess Willow's father. The Goblin King holds his daughter responsible for all the trouble caused and punishes her by declaring her grounded for a year, though he admits he's relieved to have her back and safe. Mr. Gibbles brings Jack back to life on the Goblin King's help as the latter takes Krudsky prisoner for his crimes. He, the Goblin Army, Willow, Jack, Broomy, and Mr. Gibbles all return to the magical world. Before departing, the Goblin King uses one final spell to erase the memory of the events from Fred, Daphne, and Velma's minds to keep the balance between the worlds. However, Scooby and Shaggy are allowed to keep their memories as they've proven their courage. After the carnival packs up, Daphne wonders if they're a little too old for this stuff. Wellness is that no one would even believe in monsters and magic, even if it's just one night a year. When Scooby dresses up like the headless horseman just to scare Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, and Fred.